Welcome to the Marble Sports Worldwide podcast, where we discuss your favorite marble sports. We bring you in-depth analysis of each event across many different marble sports competitions. Catch all the information and drama you want to hear about your favorite players, teams, events, and more right here on the MSW podcast.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Marble Sports Worldwide podcast. My name is Brendan.
And I'm Commander Wolf.
And Mr. Wolf, you don't usually talk much during these intros, do you?
No, not usually, because you always cover everything.
Yeah, I'm gonna make you talk real quick. Why don't you explain to our fans out there what is going on with episode 15? I know there's a few people probably sitting out there being like, you know what? Where's episode 15? It's been like 2 weeks. He promised weekly uploads. He's not delivering. And I really want to hear about these marble sports.
Well, by the time you get to hear this, it would only be 1 week. So it'll still be normal upload time. It's just that it's taking longer than expected. So our new editor, Wimith, has a family issue. And so they were unable to finish editing episode 15. So now I've spent all of today as I'm recording this, or some of today because I had school and stuff, trying to edit the episode, and so I'm going to be editing that after this recording. And then it'll be uploaded hopefully later tonight, if not tomorrow. So for you listening to this in the future, you'll already know when it was uploaded. But that's just kind of the situation we're dealing with right now. Hey, it's Wolf from the future, and I'm just here to let you know, right out the gate, that in the end, our editor actually stepped down. So I ended up having to edit episodes 16 and 17. So that sucks. So at any point we ever mentioned, hey, Wimith is going to edit this, just know that it was actually me instead. Just wanted to clear that up. And I'll make sure to remind anybody who skips this episode in the next one. All right, back to the episode.
Yeah, and it will be tomorrow, because I'm tired tonight, so I'm not gonna click all those buttons tonight and do all that advertising. Anyways, before we get to the news today, I want to tell a quick story, because this was just this kind of amazed me a little bit, and it was just interesting. I don't know. I just want to tell you. Anyway, I was in my car a couple days ago, 3 days ago, any amount of days ago. It doesn't really matter for the story, but I was in my car, and I was driving back home, and I was on the highway, and so, but I had to turn off. So I went to turn off it. I went around the little jug handle thing to turn off, and I was waiting there at the light, and there was this car next to me, and there were a couple girls in there. They were like my age, and I was just chilling in the car, right, waiting for the light there, and one of them looks over and they starts waving at me. I'm like okay, but I didn't know the girl, so it was weird because she was just waving at me, and I didn't know who she was. And then she starts motioning for me to put down the window. So I was like, okay, why not? She was kind of cute, so why not? But no, it was not my mom. Man, I'm trying to finish the story here. Anyway, so I rolled down the window. She rolled down the window, and she's like, hey, is your name Brendan? And I was like, evidently yes, it is. And which I was weird. That was weird because I don't remember this person, and apparently. She said she remembered me from second grade. All right, she recognized me from second grade. I was like, are you kidding me? There's no way. There's no way. That's the reaction I was looking for, Mr. Wolf. Thank you. All right, and I was sitting there because let's consider the situation here. I have not seen this person since second grade, and for me that's 10 years because I'm in 12th grade now, and do some simple math on that there. And it's not like she'd been looking at me for hours, and then all of a sudden it clicked. It's like, oh, I went to second grade with this guy, played some kickball or whatever it is. But it was weird because she glanced over from her car through all the windows, and all of a sudden somehow she recognized me from second grade, and that was the weirdest thing because I gotta be honest with you, I don't even remember what I did last week. All right. Let alone 10 years ago. I don't remember any faces from 10 years ago. I remember one kid because he was annoying. He bothered me, and he would always wear a white shirt, and he was also kind of funny, but he bothered me. Yes, through all the there's 2 windows, Hershey. Think about it. Oh no, but the windows were up before she told me to roll them down. So that's 2 windows. Yeah, the clear things. Like, love the live chat. But yes, like, it was weird, and I was like, I don't remember faces from like even 4 years ago, and I could not tell you what I did last week. I don't know how you remember that far. So that kind of baffled me. I was thinking about it on the way home, and yeah, I mean, like, if any, I don't know, maybe you guys out there have a similar ability, like you just can recognize people easily, or maybe she had a crush on me there, and remembered. I don't know, but I feel like I look a lot different.
That's quite crazy. You shouldn't be able to recognize someone just from like how they look. Like from second grade to senior year in high school you should look completely different.
Yeah, I do. I actually do, because I've seen pictures of me through all the years of my life so far, and yeah, I do look different. And like, I don't know, and maybe it's a girl thing, because actually I was at another thing sometime. It was like a year ago, and it was like a thing, and it was at a place that, you know, it happened to be connected to a place where that's where I went to kindergarten, like way back when. And like, I knew there were going to be people there and that were from that kindergarten class as well, you know, people my age that had went to that school back in kindergarten. But like a couple of the girls there, like actually remembered my name. Like, I was like, what? Like, they were like, oh yeah, you look familiar, like you were from kindergarten there, right? I was like, how do you know that? It is crazy to me, because I would not, like, I don't know what I'm talking about, but it was an interesting story for me.
It certainly is an interesting story. Not sure how it really relates to marbles, but you know what? That's just kind of how it rolls here on the MSWP.
That really does how. Oh, you said rolls, so you kind of brought it back to marbles, didn't you?
I suppose I did.
Yeah. But in any event, guys, see, this is no, but I feel like this is good. I feel like the intro, I don't need to just shout news at people. I think the intro is a good time to tell a story, because it's like we're engaging our fans, okay, and we're preparing everyone for the episode. I mean, yes, you are a fan. That's why you're in the live chat right now. God, the live chat. But yeah, I feel like a little bit of story in the beginning is good. Maybe you should bring a story next time there, Waff.
I mean, I guess if I have a story, sure, but I can't like just make a story happen. So
if I have anything happen in my life, and anyways, we should plow ahead here, guys. And why don't we go to the news?
Hello, Marvel Sports fans! I am Johnny Marble here once again with the Marvel Sports Worldwide News. Good to see you back. Our top story covers an unfortunate circumstance falling upon the JMR organization. Glitches and problems with Jelly's computer have caused delays to the release of Marvel Showdown. Event 3, the funnel race, will now be released on Friday, September 6th, while Event 2 had to be re-uploaded due to errors. We hope the JMR organization will recover from these challenges and continue to produce amazing Marvel content. Another big news, MSPN has released the first episode of the long-awaited M-Games, an extreme Marvel sports competition featuring 8 daring teams. The first event was deep sea diving. In this event, the largest and heaviest Marvel in the competition, Vulcan from the Metamorphics, destroyed the competition, going undefeated through all rounds, and taking first place and 10 points along with it. The Poison Frogs follow close behind in second with 8 points, and the Woodland Foxes sit in third with 6. In other news, Marble Fubeca reports that they are going through a studio rebuild and will be hoping to bring a big tournament beginning later in the fall. Also, the rollout was reported to possibly have issue 2 of the magazine be released this Saturday, September 7th. Well, that's all the news for today. I've been Johnny Marble. Let's take it back to Brendan. Thanks for joining me.
All right, guys, we are back from the news. Thank you so much, Johnny Marble, for another exciting news segment. A lot going on here in the community, and a lot to talk about here with the new M-Games. First episode had been released, actually the day we're recording this. It was released literally an hour and a half ago, and we watched it, and now it's in the news, and it's also our topic of discussion today. We have Hershy back on today, all the way back from episode 10, where we talked and introduced the first ever Marble Chaos Theory discussion. Hershy, why don't you say hello to all the loving fans out there?
Hi. I'm back. Hi.
Well, there you have it, guys. He's back. But anyways.
Good to have you back on the show.
Good to be back.
There we go. And a good little exchange there. But we should plow ahead here, get right to it. Obviously, we've already heard from a different episode how Hershy got into Marble Sports, as we always ask our guests. So if you really want to know, if that's like a burning question on your mind to know how he got into Marble Sports, then you go listen to episode 10, because it's already there. All right. But we should just go right ahead and talk some M-Games. As I said, the first episode just came out. Underwater. What is it? Underwater dive? What was the official name?
Deep sea diving.
Deep sea diving. How about that, everybody? But it was very good. I really enjoyed the event. A few comments I'd like to make, but I don't really know where we should start this discussion. So I think I'm just going to jump in with event design as my first point here. As far as fitting into the theme of M-Games, that extreme sports kind of theme you're given to this Marble Sports competition, I think deep sea diving was just a great. It fits well. It fits well with the theme because it's just it is kind of extreme because when you dive really deeply, you run the risk of losing your breath. Yeah, you obviously the farther you dive in water, the darker it gets. Usually, all that kind of stuff. It kind of gives off an essence of like an extreme type of thing to do.
It's kind of funny because I think this was going to be the least extreme event that we have. I felt like it didn't really live up to the extreme name, but
If I'm honest, yeah, I think I kind of agree with that. But like again, this is the first event, so I was always expecting it to be better. And like as a patron, I've heard a few of the ideas, and so I know that there are plenty of potential events that we could see that are definitely going to surpass deep sea diving.
And the thing with deep sea diving, when I recorded that, it kind of all came together really quickly because I actually recorded that while on vacation. That's the pool that was in is not like my pool. That was actually up in New Jersey, like hours away from where I live.
That's
so
where I
live.
Kind of had where in New Jersey?
It's in Toms River, New Jersey. It's like the Jersey
that's
Shore.
like an hour from me. I'm near Princeton.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I shouldn't say that because then people come to my house.
Interesting.
That's actually really cool. Sorry to interrupt your talking there.
So no problem. I mean, it's a podcast, so that's kind of
how it goes, right? But anyway, finish what you were saying.
Well, basically, it was whipped together really quickly. We finished making the launching contraption that you saw before each heat, like the day before we had left off for vacation. And unfortunately, I couldn't go back and re-record this event with multiple camera views and stuff because it was all done, in one take, one day while we were there, just when we had available time on vacation. So it was not it wasn't exactly what I wanted it to be, but it was definitely less extreme than if I would have had time to sit there and actually set up the background how I wanted and everything, and you would have been able to see the whiteouts probably too, because it's really hard to see the whiteouts. But
Oh yeah, I like the touch with the highlighting of the whiteouts. That was good.
the funny thing is, it was actually harder to see the whiteouts when you were zoomed in rather than when you were further away. I don't know
Yeah.
why it was like that, but you would think if you zoomed in more, you'd be able to see it. But it was harder for me to see it when it was zoomed in, so I figured I would. I mean, it wasn't a perfect tracking on that. I went frame by frame and moved it, but
Yeah, yeah. When I watched it, that was probably my biggest complaint was like the whiteouts. Like the tracking wasn't the best. It's like definitely like having like a background that can like just a big old plain black background that you could see them would be better.
yeah, I definitely would have. I definitely would have done that if I had the opportunity to. But by the time we were there, all the stuff that I brought was kind of what I had to work with. So
You know what you
unfortunately,
should have
I didn't
done?
even.
Oh, sorry. You know what would be cool? Like if you're gonna do the underwater deep sea race diving, whatever it is. Sorry, the deep sea diving again. You should like get like a black background, but put like the M-Games M and like big, like a poster almost with like the M-Games M on it, and like put that as a background. That looks so cool. So like you know what I'm saying? Like you kind of make that little stadium or arena type feel because you put the M on the background, like a huge one. That would be sick.
Yeah, if I do it again, I'll definitely be more prepared. And what's funny is like I didn't even think about it till we were you know there and we had the marbles out and everything, and I was like, these things are going to be really really hard to see when they're in the water. It's funny, we actually, after the heats were launched, like a couple of times I actually had trouble finding them just like looking in the water because for a few of those heats I actually didn't have goggles on, so it was like I didn't know who won, and we had to actually go back and watch the videos to see who was supposed to go in the next heats and stuff. So we were, I think, a lot less prepared than I would have wanted to be, but we'll be more prepared in the future.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Something that I guess this is to kind of go along with being unprepared. I'm going to assume that it was because you were a little unprepared, but something I guess my biggest complaint with it was that was kind of the camera work, but not in the sense that you didn't have enough angles. It's just I feel how you had that starting part where the marbles they would start and they would kind of go through the small ski jump type looking track and then they would fall into the water. I think what you should have done here to make it look more professional was have like a steady camera just I mean even just one angle's okay, but if you
And
had
then,
two, I guess
then
that works too.
launching into the water, right?
Right, so like a steady camera on the launch, maybe a top view or a good side view, and like not you just see him go into the water, and then you have that moving camera like you did in the water go following the marbles because is that to me is a lot better.
So
Because yeah.
here's why it was done, how it was done. Um, I did not actually have an underwater camera. I was actually using like my phone. Um, that was the camera that was used for the underwater. I actually had purchased a camera that was supposed to be an underwater, HD camera, um, and I was going to use that for, it was going to be steady on a tripod at the bottom of the pool, so you would have a better angle of when, because it was supposed to be originally where they hit the ground. Whoever hits the ground first would win, rather than who crossed the white line first, like how it was. Um,
Okay.
but it was going to have a better view of when they hit. But of course, when we went to use that camera, it was underwater for like 3 minutes and just completely died. It was like the water seeped into the screen and everything. It was
But wasn't it
terrible.
supposed
So
to be able to be used underwater?
yeah, it said like on the packaging and everything, it said like for underwater use and stuff like that. But
Huh.
it just completely died within a few minutes of being underwater.
That's retarded.
you
You
get your money
should
back?
return that. Yeah.
Yeah, I returned it. But by that point, I returned it when I got back home because we recorded this like the last day we were there. So I basically had run out of cameras. I had 2 planned, and then I was going to do, and then there was going to be a 3rd camera, but it was just going to be for the launches. But what ended up happening with that is the tripod. It was like a self-stabilizing tripod is what we use.
Right.
And that's what I use for the little transitions to, before they launch. It would show the marbles sitting in the gate ready to go. We used the stabilizing tripod for that, and we were going to use that for the launches, but it wouldn't work with anybody's phone except for mine, which was already in the water. So it was kind of just a combination of, the cameras didn't all work out, and we were a little unprepared, didn't have a whole lot of time. So when everything came together, I ended up having to kind of stitch things together like you saw, which I definitely agree with you on that point. But the camera work and all the aspects of that will definitely be better in the future for the next coming events.
That's good. That's good to hear because even sorry, Ms. Wall. Even at the quality of camera that you produced in this first event, it wasn't even that bad. I still followed the event and I still enjoyed the event. So if you're saying it's only getting better from there, that's great news because the first event was still pretty well done. What camera did you use under the water though?
That was my phone. It was my phone's camera.
How did you do that?
How'd you do it? Yeah, that's what I want to know.
It was. What do you mean?
Oh, Focaf is here. Welcome. Your episode's getting up soon. But sorry, I'm just interacting with the people in the live chat. I'm sorry.
To reiterate the question,
your episode's getting up soon.
So how did you did you put your phone into a bag or something to keep the water from getting in?
So I tried using a bag because I had seen that for some kind of hack for the phone, but when I would put it in the water, it would fog up really quickly because the phone is warm, the water is cold, and so the bag would fog up really bad. So it would be super foggy when you would do the recording. So my phone was just straight up in the water.
Really?
What?
Yeah.
Wait,
I had to take a chance.
How? wait,
no
no.
chance.
What do you mean? Wait, what phone do you have?
It's an iPhone 8.
Yeah. Wait. Okay. Is that one of the waterproof ones?
It's water resistant for a half an hour.
Okay. Water resistant for a half hour, dude. That's crazy. And you and you took that chance.
That was what the issue was with I was going to use somebody else's phone for the other camera to have them launching in the pool, but only my phone would work with that tripod, and nobody else wanted to put their phone in the water. So it ended up being my phone in the water.
A lot of people use their heads.
You know what?
Sorry.
I had to take my chance because that was my chance to get that. Because if I didn't record that event when I did, it wasn't going to get recorded at all.
I mean, you got to do what you got to do for the marbles. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way. Oh, yeah. That's just the way it happens.
If my phone shut off, you just throw it in some rice. It'll be fine.
That's literally never worked for me. By the way, I've had phones. I've had phones where I barely they touch the water a little bit. I'll give it that, but it wasn't like I stay submerged in the water. And then I was like, oh, well, my phone now doesn't work. And then people just oh, throw in a bag of rice. And I was like, okay. And then I did it, and it's never have I thrown my phone in a bag of rice, and it end up working out. All right. God, why is the gain so sensitive on my thing? I moved it a millimeter, and now it's stagnated super low. And then I moved it a millimeter, and then it's spiking high. Wimeth, fix that.
He's gonna have to,
Jeez,
I suppose.
All right, I'm just gonna fix this right on air here, unedited. This is how the podcast goes.
Please no.
All right, this is good. Let me see. Okay, that looks about right. But in any event, that's what I mean. I don't know what I mean, but I definitely the rice has never worked for me. Is all I'm saying. So It's great that you took the chance, though. Like, what would you have done if it would broke, though?
Um, I'm glad it didn't.
Well, there you go, right?
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
suppose that's all that matters.
yeah, that is all that
So
matters.
we should probably explain, like, is in the news segment. Is it going to say anything about this? Is it going to explain like who won and stuff?
Evidently, guys, I have not written the news segment yet. How about that? But yes, the news segment. Hopefully, I mean, at this point, it's already been heard by our listeners. So hopefully, it had covered. Damn, the gain again. All right. Hopefully, it had covered the. It will probably actually I'm covering. God, I can't speak today. The news should cover the stats from M-Games. Okay, the way I'm doing the news. God, why do I have to speak like that? Just to get words out. The way I'm doing the news is that all JMR content and all M-Games gets covered in detail. So I list the top 3, blah, 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 blah. And then Marble Mayhem gets covered to a medium extent. And then pretty much everything outside of that, with the exception of Marblades, or if Marble Fubica ever comes up with something really crazy that they supposedly have cooking up back there, then yeah, those are the things that will get covered a lot. So M-Games will get covered a lot. So when it's in the news, it will be okay, we're listing the top 3, we're mentioning a couple crazy things. It's gonna get in there because I think, I own this. I created this podcast. I can do whatever I want. If I want them to cover M-Games more in the news, I'll tell them to do that.
Brendan, are you going on a tangent here? You just seem to kind of gone in a whole different direction, and I'm very confused.
I was just wondering if we should say who won.
Oh yeah. It's already
So
been said in the news.
they'll know who won. So okay, because I think I was going to bring up another point. One of the big things that we talked about in the first one I was on was how we're going to embrace the differences with the marbles. And
embrace the differences, everybody.
One of the biggest things that I've seen.
This is diversity.
For discussion tonight, just within the hour and a half before we started recording, was that Vulcan won and was the number 1 seed, and he's the biggest marble. I think it's also interesting. I was talking to Waff about this before, that the telescopics finished in last. I feel like that was probably thanks to their the matte coating on the outside, because they have the most friction on the outside of their marble. So on the way down, that would slow them down, I felt.
Especially if they hit the wall.
But I think that's something that's interesting, that you wouldn't really... Those few things, people mentioning that, you wouldn't see that in the Marble Olympics, because they don't... Not saying this is something that's wrong, but it's that they're not going to tell you that this marble's bigger and that's why he won, or he's heavier, or they don't like the matte finish marbles, so we wouldn't see that affect them either. But I think it's just interesting that the first event played out the way it did, just showcasing the differences between the marbles.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I absolutely. Oh, sorry. Did you want to say something, Lost?
I was also just about to mention the telescopics were the 5th seed, and yet they placed in last. So they did better on their first go around. So I'm not sure what happened there.
They also did better in the speed trials too, where the seeding came into play. They were launching by themselves, and I think that what could have played a factor into them doing worse, or the Tridents doing better, is how they react when there's another marble right next to them, and the motion that would be going. When they hit the water and there's another one next to them, the water's going to act completely different and swirl around, or I don't really know. Obviously, I can't see what the water's doing, but I would assume that also had an impact on it. So maybe the more the water moved around for the telescopics, the more they got slowed down because of that matte finish, and maybe that's why they finished in last.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, that is a solid. Yeah, you have to consider all the marbles have their differences, and going back to a point you made a little bit earlier, that's one of the reasons I can oh, not rationalize, but like I can coexist. God, that word's weird. I can coexist with the M Games and JMR as two big marble sports competitions because they're so different. JMR, like you said, has that kind of every marble has to be the same size, every marble has to be the same weight, every marble has to be made from the same material, that kind of stuff. Where like it is super super fair. No excuse, by the way, for the Oceanics to perform the way they did with all the fairness that we see here in the JMR world, the Marble League world, everybody. But that's the reason. Like they do that, but then to come over to M Games, marbles have different materials, different finishes, different sizes and weights. Like to me,
Chips.
because
And
we
chips.
already have and chips. Because we already have a competition in which it's super regulated and everything. To me, one of my favorite parts about the M Games, especially that first event, was that the Metamorphics freaking killed it and never lost, and that they happen to have the biggest and heaviest marble, and they can just do that. They can just put that in, and you know, if someone's like it's unfair, well, you can get the hell out of here. Like I mean, like you know what I'm saying? Like that's the way it is. I like the M Games because it's unfair. I like that, and I don't know if I phrased that right. I don't want to say it to you like say it's. Yeah, what I mean is like it's different, right? And so like
and also the thing is that yes, it was per se maybe unfair and it favored the Metamorphics in this event, but then we look at another event where the size and the weight maybe hurts them, then we could see a team like the Whiteouts or the Mountain Tumblers, and they do better. Because that event's in their favor. So it's not like every event's going to be in favor of the Metamorphics because they're bigger. And the other thing is that it's not like all of the Metamorphics marbles are the size of Vulcan. He is a lot bigger than just about every other marble in the competition.
He's a
and
big guy.
That includes his teammates too. Because if you take out, say you take out the captains of each team, the Clovers are actually a bigger team on average. It just Vulcan adding his number in there being such a huge marble compared to the rest, that actually makes the Metamorphics bigger on average. So if there's an event where it's a team event, the Clovers would probably actually have the advantage if it's if weight and size gives an advantage in that event. And there will definitely be events where there's probably not really much of an advantage to either side, and that also, there's going to be a metal member only event, and that's going to be really interesting because they're all the same. So it's not going to be every event's going to be in favor of a specific team, and I don't think any team is going to necessarily like run away with the competition.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, and like the point I'm making here, and I didn't mean to use unfair if that wasn't the right word there, but the fact that unfair in a good way, because I don't have the word for it. What I mean is just like the fact that if deep sea diving is coming up, right? If that event is coming up soon, and then I was sitting here giving predictions for deep sea diving, I would be able to say the Metamorphics are likely to win because they have the heaviest and biggest marble, and I like that. I like that there's that kind of difference. But like for other events, like say, sorry, should I finish here, or are you just gonna?
Yeah, you can finish.
All right, I'll finish up here. I like that I can say that, but like for other events, like I can't think of any off the top of my head, but like if you're talking about a racing event, obviously your biggest, heaviest marble in a lot of cases is not going to thrive and over the smaller marbles like on the Whiteouts team in the racing event. Like that's the thing. So like when you consider the whole M Games competition as a whole, it evens itself out. It comes out in the end because Vulcan wouldn't thrive at certain events. Probably like Vulcan wouldn't thrive at like long jump per se because of his extra weight, he wouldn't be able to get as much airtime. And like teams like the Whiteouts who have smaller, lighter marbles will be able to. So like I like that unfairness. that different events are going to appeal, different skills will appeal to different teams more. And that's,
And that's
why
also, I think we mentioned it in the last episode I was on too. Something that I wanted to, have the fans, if they see a video come up, a little premiere thing in YouTube in their subscriptions, where like how they did today, where it was deep sea diving. A fan of the Metamorphics would be like, okay, yeah, Vulcan's going to be competing for us today. They know that he's going to be competing because that's his kind of event. And I think it also plays into the community coaches side of things, because if they make the wrong decision on which marble to have compete, that can make a huge difference for where they finish. Say there's like a long jump type event, like you said, and they still choose Vulcan because he did so well in deep sea diving. That would probably be like a big mistake.
I would say yes.
Wouldn't. But that's another one of those things that I feel like it differentiates the M-Games from any other marble competition that I've seen so far.
Right, and like that's
absolutely.
the biggest difference between like Marble Olympics. Like with Marble Olympics, like we all like it's like get into like the okay. So for all marble sports, it's all role playing, but like the difference between M-Games and Marble Olympics or Marble League now is that like in Marble League, like while you can pretend that the marbles have the stats and like they're like some are better than others at certain events, because they're all the same, relatively the same marble, they really all do have the same amount of chance. With M-Games,
no, I don't think we can say that. Sorry, finish. But I have a point to that.
But with like relatively speaking, they're all about the same size and stuff. But with the M-Games, like it's literally actually making certain marbles like that are better in different sizes that could compete better in certain events. So it's like as if it's more like they're actually real athletes that have specific skill sets like real life athletes in our world.
Yeah, that's actually a good connection because you consider like I don't know, take like a baseball team, take a couple of teams versus each other in a good game of baseball. Like often one of the teams has like really good power hitters, right? So you're talking like big guys. They can really hit the ball. They can't run very fast usually. Sometimes they can, but not usually. But they can really hit the ball. And then the other team might have an amazing freaking pitcher, right? Just one of the best out there, And they don't have power hitters, but they have a pitcher. And then the other team, they don't really have a great pitcher, but they have power hitters. So you talk about that kind of, when these teams versus each other, they all have different skill sets, and like it's still anyone's game as far as winning. Okay, it's anyone's game because when you actually take the final M-Games with all the events covering all the different skill sets, then it is fair, And one of the things I also like to mention here is that I really like the fact, back to the Metamorphics here, how like Vulcan is heavier and bigger and like so he has a much easier time in this deep sea diving, because it also brings this excitement to the table where it's like, okay, if someone beats Vulcan, because right now he's undefeated, so you already even have that kind of thread here. But if someone were to beat Vulcan in deep sea diving next year or a year after, I hope you continue doing this forever, then that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Right? Because Vulcan is like the favorite to win. It's obviously he has
he'll be a heavy favorite.
Time.
Yeah, if we do it
right.
Yeah, if we do another season, obviously, when we have people who are doing predictions now, we have probably 3 or 4 people who do predictions or power rankings for the teams. If we do deep sea diving again, everyone's going to have Vulcan at the top because he never lost. He was extremely dominant. And another one of the things that I think I'm trying to do compared to, trying to not necessarily improve upon, but just change things that I would have wanted in the Marble Olympics is, I might be wrong, but I highly doubt it. I'm keeping the marbles consistent. So I think I said this last time too. Every time you see a marble, you see their name, it actually is the same physical marble. So every time we see Vulcan, it's going to be the same marble. Every time we see Neptune of the Tridents, it's going to be the same marble. And that's why they'll be more consistent with the statistics, I believe. I just think that's an important part of it too, because I'll use Starry from from Team Galactic as an example. So they're really good at sand races. I don't know that that's the same marble going out there every time, and it might be. I don't think it is, but that's why I feel like it would be a bigger deal too if we saw a heavy favorite in the M games lose in a certain event, like if we saw Vulcan lose in deep sea diving in the coming season.
Let me jump in here to respond to Focaf, or what is his name? Tom? He asking about, like you were talking about before with the marbles being consistent. Do you know if the JMR marbles are consistent? We don't. Okay, he's making an opinion. We from what we hear, they are, and we don't know how Gel tells them apart. Okay, that's like a mystery because he has some ability that we don't understand. We don't know a lot about that, so we can make guesses like Hershy's doing, and that's
Definitely,
fine.
yeah, that's what I mean.
We can't make
that's what I'm saying. I'm not sure
on that.
Yeah.
Definite statements are, just strong opinions over here, right?
Well, it's just when you forget to bring a team to an event like they did with the Jungle Jumpers, I don't think they're keeping track of each marble individually, but I could be wrong.
The solid point, though. Maybe they just wanted to. Maybe it was a drama thing. Like, oh, obviously we have this team, but we're not gonna bring it because we want this whole drama. I don't know what it was.
I'm pretty sure it was just because the whole thing with that. I think he just forgot him. I think that was actually a thing. I'm not making that up.
That's a shame. These Jungle Jumpers, man, they gotta get up. Man, sleeping so long. All right. But one of the points I wanted to quickly circle back to here, something Mr. Waff made when he was talking about the fact that JMR marbles are all consistent, and that's not the case. Like, if you actually look at if you look at these past events, you look at the things that are happening there. Like, obviously, something's different about the Savage Speeders compared to like the Pinkies, because it's not random chance that somehow they continue to perform the way they do. Obviously, there's slight differences in those marbles. Like what? I don't know. Maybe slight weight changes, slight speed changes.
Yeah, and
not speed changes.
What I think is happening, if you take a look at those two teams, I think it's probably going to be a lot like the say the Foxes versus what we have with the whiteouts. They look like they're about the same size, but the Foxes on average are 1/10 of an ounce heavier for just about every marble. There's like one or two that are 1/10 of an ounce, and then the rest of them are 2/10 of an ounce. And for the whiteouts, they're all 1/10 of an ounce. So that's probably what's happening there. I think the Savage Spears are probably heavier. That's just me guessing. Obviously, again, I have no idea actually, but I'd say that the Pinkies are probably a lighter team. And again, we don't know the measurements either because they didn't announce those either. So that would just be my guess. But it's definitely, that was one of the things that frustrated me, was that they try and make it seem like everyone is, all of the marbles are the same when they pretty clearly aren't.
Well, I mean, I understand the frustration. I definitely do. God, someone, wait, just give me a sec, guys. Keep going.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I'm back. It was literally 1 second. Look at that. I said give me a sec, and it was actually 1 second. People usually say give me a sec, and it's like 5 minutes, and you're like, oh my god, hurry up. Okay, but anyway, no, that was besides the point. But anyway, the point I'm making here is that I forgot, by the way, so I have to restart.
The point I'm making, I think, was like that.
So you're going to try to say my point for me.
The marbles do have some small imperfections and differences between them. So even though JMR tries to make them as consistent as possible, ultimately there are some small, minute differences that will make a small amount of difference in how they perform.
Oh yeah, of course. And I think the fact that the differences are small but still there is important for Olympics. Like, I mean, JMR. Sorry, take it like this. All right. If I know that they don't want to be JMR's Marble League doesn't want to be like seen as a ripoff or a parody of the Olympics. I get that, but I will say the way they're doing it and the way they should keep doing it is it kind of mirrors the not the quality, but the kind of the setup of the Olympics, right? Like, think about the Olympics. If you think about some of these events in the Olympics, like gymnastics, all that kind of stuff, you kind of have these single person events or sometimes team events, but like where they're not the differences in the person aren't played up. Like, if you take a look at those gymnasts that all compete in the Olympics gymnastics event, they all look like the same size. There maybe are slight differences, but they look similar size, and it's never talked about. The size difference, the traits about the person are never discussed in the Olympics because they're all so good. Okay? They're all so good at what they do that it's not worth talking about the differences in their body shape or size. It's just really, who's going to bring the performance that day. And like, I think that's the good thing about the JMR Marble League that they kind of do. They know there's small differences between the marbles. Obviously, there's something different between the Savage Speeders and the Pinkies. Obviously. Because the Pinkies, I've yet to see them do anything worth noting. Maybe I think they medaled once.
They won the dirt race out of nowhere. That dirt race was like their first gold medal, and like they won it like out of the blue.
Yeah, I think they closed their eyes for that one and got lucky. But that was all right. But obviously there's a difference between the Savage Speeders and the Pinkies. All right, and so, but the fact that the way we view these Marble League events is that, I got to get up for a second. Just say some things about marbles. Just scream marble for like 1 second.
The point I think he was making is like how the marbles are like we shouldn't care, I guess, about the differences because like ultimately, like just like in real life sports, like or at least in the Olympics, like it's not really about like their body shape or size or height or whatever. What matters is like their skill level and how they performed, and like that's what truly matters. And so I guess like for the whole like role play thing, if we want to go that deep into it, like we can ignore that, but like because this podcast is like part of the role play as well as also through like in the real life perspective of it, we do kind of cover both. So it's kind of hard to ignore one and just like only focus on the other. We have to kind of focus on both here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually had whatever it was I was saying before. I feel like it was coming to a really good point, and then I got distracted. So it's lost forever, everybody. Sorry about that. I think the point has been made. All right, yeah, I think it's been made.
I think Wolf made it for you. We actually let him talk, so he said something useful now.
Did he? Did you do something useful? All right, let's all clap for Wolf. Clap for Wolf. Clap. Everyone clap. Yeah, well, you're not supposed to clap for yourself.
I know that.
All right, yeah, but I clap for you. You should feel proud.
Well, thank you, Elijah, for your clapping emojis.
So does our live chat. So does our live chat. See,
and S-Man.
They listen. And S-Man. Yeah, I said our live chat, so that includes everybody in the live chat. Anyway, let's plow ahead here. Yes, but I think the main point, to sum this all up, the point of this discussion is that M-Games and JMR Marble League are different. And it's good that they're different. And JMR, in the way they do their thing, is absolutely killing it. And in all honesty, they still have the best content by far. Okay? We're not even good. The point is not that. The point is not, okay, M-Games is here and it's better. The point is that they're different. And so when, you can't look at M-Games and be like, oh, that's just another channel trying to copy Marble Olympics. They're actually bringing in different different style of event, different style of team, different style of matchup, all that kind of stuff to the competition. So I can respect the creativity, is what I'm saying, and in both channels. So I know there's people out there who are like loyal to JMR, they don't like MSPN, or probably the other way around as well. that kind of stuff. Like, it, to me, in this case, it's stupid because they're both creating content that's quite different. That's quite different styles. Okay, so I don't agree for people to say that they're like the same thing. So I guess that's the point from that, everybody, that I support both. Is that the point? Did I make that a point about me? Did I make that about me? Anyway,
Yes, I think so.
all right. Anyway, let's move on here. The other point I want to make, this should spark a little bit of discussion because I want to hear why you did this. The other thing I noticed in the video that you did that I didn't really like was when you had the interview with Vulcan or the whatever it is you did with him, he spoke. I did not like how you mentioned who the speaker was, like in real life. I didn't like it. Now, evidently the speaker of that marble is in the live chat right now, so how about that? No offense to you, okay, Elijah, who happened to speak for Vulcan. But
he wasn't speaking for Vulcan. He was
Well,
a
he wasn't.
coach.
Yeah, he wasn't speaking for Vulcan. He was the head coach commenting on Vulcan's skill set.
Right, but I don't like how it was mentioned. Whatever it was that he was speaking, I don't like how his name was mentioned. Like, I don't like how you
Why?
were, because it's not professional. All right, when you, I
not
don't
professional.
like you shouldn't relate.
Hold on.
I didn't like that.
Yeah.
I feel like you should have just put head coach.
Hold on.
Wait, what?
How is that not professional? When you
In
have
the video,
when you have an NFL's head coach doing a press conference, it doesn't say, Falcons head coach, right?
no, but that's not my point. No, but they're both humans. The players are humans, and the coaches are humans. When you talk about the event here, if the players are marbles, then the coaches should be marbles. Even if they are played by, even if the decisions are played by humans outside. By the way, great idea that we have the community coaches. And by the way, you said there weren't even any head coaches anyway, so I don't even know why there was a head coach. But
no, hold on.
I don't
didn't say there
understand
weren't
why.
any head coaches.
Okay,
That was
well,
when we were discussing the idea. The head coach, in quotes, the head coach is the one who will speak for the team. They're not any more important.
So if Elijah is not the head coach but just speaking as the head coach because you need a voice, you shouldn't name that, I feel, in the thing. You should just say head coach, come up with a name even if you want. But just say head coach of what was the team? Metamorphics? Head coach of Metamorphics, or the name that you want to put for that head coach. Because I don't know, my feeling on that is just it kind of takes away from the pretend world of it all. And like, unless you're identifying that, okay, I actually want the voices of my human community coaches to speak here, which, by the way, that's a different story. Then I don't think that we should. I don't think that that's the way it should go. Just my opinion. I'm sorry. Strong opinions on this podcast, everybody.
I think I understand what you're trying to say. So, what you're trying to say is that you wanted to see like the coaches be marbles as well, like have a marble persona, like how like I have my marble persona, and like how it's like with the announcer, it's like it's not like your brother's name, it's Ricochet, and so like I think what he's trying to say is maybe like, if Elijah was going to voice a coach member, like the coach should have been a marble as well with a different name from Elijah, I suppose, but like that's a bit of work, like I suppose like that maybe like should be probably for maybe next year or next season's Marble M-Games, because as of right now, I don't know how many people have a marble Sona and have a marble sprite to use.
Well, I think the reason that I want to do things the way that I did them, I didn't realize that anybody had that opinion, but I'm glad you said that. I feel like relating it back to the community coaches was what I wanted to do. I want people to know that these aren't made up people who are making the decisions. There are people behind the decisions for these teams. And so it goes back to when the Oceanics fired their coach. There's really no reason for someone to fire their head coach when there isn't a coach actually making any decisions for a team. So the reason I put his name there was more so giving him the recognition of being the one on his team because nobody else wanted to speak. Nobody else wanted to be in that video. He was the one who came forward and said,
Is he a community coach for the Metamorphics?
Yes.
He is.
Yes.
Okay, well that softens the blow a little bit. All right, because if he was
the
not,
reason he was
I would have just ended
the
the
reason he was
conversation.
named a head coach. Yeah, there's 4 community coaches for the Metamorphics, and none of the other 3 wanted to come forward and do a little piece on Vulcan because I wanted to do that because the whole thing with the chip was kind of a big deal when it was announced. Nobody else wanted to say anything. He was the one who came forward and was the one who recorded it and allowed me to use it in the video. And I felt like he deserved recognition. Those people are on. There's not a list of the community coaches in the description, right? When it comes
there's
to
not.
you were kind of related it to the Ricochet thing. Waff said that, but he does get credit in the description of the video. If you want to know what his name is, you can look in the description of the video. I feel like having them hide behind a marble, it's a little unfair. That's my opinion on it. I felt like he should be able to get his name on there and have that moment of pride with his name, his profile picture on the screen. I felt like he deserved that.
That's fair.
I get that. I get that. I don't know. It's just an opinion thing. I think with some, if it's approached well, it can be done fine. We have to wrap it up soon here, and thank you, by the way. Big shout out to our live chat joiner, Marbles for Autism, also known as John Ball, for reminding us about the trivia segment.
All right, we're in
trivia at the end now.
This time it is.
Yeah, we'll have you back on. Be patient over there. Work on those videos. But yeah, definitely, I enjoyed this discussion, by the way, so far, to trying to hear some of the thoughts behind the event. The first event, by the way, to say it one more time, it was great, okay? Especially for the theme you're trying to convey here. I think you did great. I'm excited to see what you have in the future. And hey, you produce good quality. I think over time, you're going to become one of the elite Marble channels out there. So just keep working hard. You get all those subs, But I think, yes, we should move on. Something just happened.
Yeah.
Is that our cue to do some trivia?
Are you kind of disappeared there for a second?
Oh, Jesus. I think he had one too many Hershey bars. Sorry, that was too easy. That
was bad. And
he's gone.
Oh shoot! Well,
and evidently, there you go. All right, so great points from Hershy. Obviously, a great M-Games experience. If he actually did have one too many Hershey bars and got angry because I said that, well, wow.
he's still online, so I think something happened. He's had to leave the chat real quick.
I'm gonna assume something weird happened there.
So I guess Marbles for Autism gave us a trivia question. They lost power.
Oh, did ya? All right, well, then
dang.
you just lost power.
So I guess the trivia segment is just gonna be with you and me.
Okay, well, the trivia segment is just gonna be us. Hershy, he can't even hear us, but Waff, just type in the chat and tell him that we love him and that his points were awesome, because pretty much that's what I'm saying. All right, I really got to flatter him at this point because his power went out. M-Games first event, I really liked it. I liked how they did the styling. I liked how they did the teams. I like how they're doing the events. I like how the whole theming thing. They're doing great. It's an actual, well-created marble competition that's not a rip-off of the Marble League. Sorry, I always hesitate before that still.
Yeah.
And that's why that's why I really like the M-Games. I don't know, I was about to make a comment, but I didn't. But we do got to. I know you probably had something to say, Mr. Watt, but we do got to plow ahead here. We don't got much time left.
Yeah.
Don't got much time left.
I was just gonna bring up the trivia question that Marbles for Autism posed for us in our live chat.
Are you gonna pose it as your own? Because we
no,
have time for two.
I'm posing it as his.
We don't do live chatters trivia questions. It's a you and me thing.
Well, I don't have a trivia question, so I can use it then, right?
Well, then you can use him. Then you can say you take his and you're using it as yours.
Sure. I quote unquote have a trivia question for you, Brendan. It should be pretty easy though. So,
Okay.
all right, who has won a medal in the sand rally every year in the JMR? Or in
Was
the
that
marble,
gonna be Starry?
in the Marble Olympics, like for the sand rally event. Which
Is that
marble
going
is?
to be?
Yeah.
I'm gonna give Savage Speeders or Team Galactic.
No, I totally know the answer to this. I'm just like trying to get it out of my brain. Oh, it's Galactic.
Is it? Yeah,
See,
I figured, right?
I totally had that trivia question prepared. Wink, wink. Thank you, MFA. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, he stole that. Evidently, yes, it is Team Galactic. Nova Wolf. If we ever have him on again, he'll wax on about that a little bit for you. Anyway, I actually have an interesting trivia question here to end us. I got a couple of minutes left here. We as an organization got a couple of minutes left here for the podcast today. And my trivia question, actually, here's how it's going to go. I'm going to describe an event. And I'm going to give its description, and you got to try to name it, okay?
Okay.
And this one's a good one, because this one's a one that we haven't seen in a while. I'll just start describing it, and it'll kind of paint the picture. It's only appeared once, back in Marble Olympics 2017, okay? It was event 9. Hopefully that doesn't help that much. And the way it works is that you're on a sand course, but it's not the sand rally. You're outside on a sand course, and it's a shorter course than a sand rally. And you descend through 5 obstacles over the course of the course, and the goal is to not knock any of the obstacles over. That's the event. It's an interesting name. Let's see if any of the live chat gets it.
Wait.
All right.
Wasn't it Steeplechase?
There you go. Reading the live chat. There you go.
Hey, like that he doesn't know for certain. At least as far as I can tell. But that was, yeah. Okay, I'll be fair. I'll be honest. Yeah, I didn't know that one, but like seeing that mentioned, I kind of put 2 and 2 together, and I remembered it. That was a thing that happened. Steeplechase.
Yeah, I actually didn't remember it till I saw it. Yes, big shout out to MFA, Marbles for Autism again, for he was the one who got that right, and Waff just copied him. Waff would not have gotten that.
Yeah,
Let's be honest,
not on
guys.
my own. I probably would have got. I think I was going to say obstacle course. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, Steeplechase. It was an interesting name.
Hershey has a question for us. If you want to answer it here.
Yeah, I saw it. I was just trying to, give the time to the question beforehand.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay, sorry.
I'm just trying to provide. I'm trying to not rush through each of the trivia parts. Okay. Yes, but Steeplechase is your answer. That was made clear already. But yes,
right.
Hershey has one question. This is how we're going to end today, guys. And he asked, how much time did I spend in the water during this event? Okay.
Including testing and recording.
I have to type this in too because he's not in the. Oh no, he put the answer.
But it's by spoiler tag, so we gotta.
Yeah, I'm not gonna click it. I know you've clicked it already, but
I haven't. I have not.
I bet. And he said this includes testing and recording.
Yeah.
How much time in the water?
Let's see here.
Damn, I really do have that accent. Water. How much time in the water? The water. This is interesting. All right. How do you spoiler tag to the live chat over there? You have to use the freaking straight vertical bars, 2 on each end. Let me do it for you. This, and then spoiler, and then that. There you go. I just did it. No, 2 on each side. 2.
Let's see. Okay, so there.
That's 1. Sorry. Interacting with live chat. How many time you spend in the water? I'll give a guess first because I'm the host and you're not. Sorry.
Okay.
I'll go like. I'll give it like a half hour. I'll give a good 30 minutes.
Okay, so there were at least in the recording episode there were 9 run throughs for all the placements. So that means there were at least, and I would say there was like about 10 seconds spent underwater for each, so that's 90 seconds, at least for recording. So then for testing, he does just 1 run for each, so that was about 8 on top of that. So with those 8 on top, 80 plus 90, so 170, but there's probably a few other tests on top of that, so I would say around 200 seconds, which would be 3 and a third minute.
3 and a third minutes.
Yes.
That's your final guess.
Yes.
3 and 1/3 minutes.
Okay. So
Dude, that's how long it takes me to get used to the water. Do not click the spoiler tag. I will do it.
Well, I had to see it. I had to see it too.
Oh, wow. Well, you were
4 hours?
Oh, Jesus. That is as far off as you get. If we were playing the what's it called? Is that the Price is Right game, or is that something else? Where you have
Price
to
is
be
Right, yeah.
the closest without going over? I would win.
You would have won that one.
You thought that the whole process of recording, recording.
Oh, I forgot about
blah, blah, it would take him 3.5 minutes.
I forgot about
him. If it took him 3.5 minutes, maybe the M-Games wouldn't take 3 months to release. Sorry, no, I shouldn't say that. That was mean.
I forgot about him having to go down to get
Not
the
even gonna
marbles
finish that.
too. He had to take time to go get the marbles as well, so you had to spend more time down there. I did not.
I
think
knew
of
as soon
that
as I
either.
said a half hour that it was a little low too. I would have gone like if I was given a second guess, I would have gone like 1 to 2 hours because it just things take time. We record. Look at it this way. I'll give an analogy, and then we'll close out for the day. We record and release a podcast that's gonna last. It lasts about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes. This one's gonna go about an hour and 15 because the talking is going to about an hour here. Hopefully, Wimeth does a good job editing and everything. I think there's a little bit, by the way, if you're still listening to this, Wimeth, there's a little bit at the end that you might want to cut out. But, yeah, think about it. We release about an hour and 15 minutes episode. But the whole process, there's the process of everyone getting on, the recording starting, me drinking water, all that kind of crap, that takes like 2 hours. Usually takes double the time that we actually talk for. So all that setup stuff, like you have to take that into account. 3.5 minutes? 3.5 minutes. Dude, you're an engineer, right?
A
logical ability.
Mechanical engineer.
Dude, you're an engineer. You solve problems.
Of the mechanical kind.
Of the mechanical kind. He owns a bowling alley.
I do not own a bowling alley. Stop telling people this.
This.
People are gonna think I own a bowling alley at some point. It's
dude,
like,
he's
I do not.
rich. He owns like the strike and spare. Or
the strike and spare.
We actually have one of those in our town. We have a strike and spare lane, and people go there, and they bowl. Yes, you can go down there, Mr. Elmelfax, if you want to go all the way down to Texas to do some bowling. I mean, cool. Yes, that's his response. Okay, well, anyway, we should head out here. I'm hoping there's a good outro song. Leaving it all in our editor's hands. And by the way, big shout out to him again. And yes. I really do hope, okay, his family member gets better from the difficulty they had, because that is always a sad thing. And yeah, so just keep him in our thoughts and prayers, everybody.
Yes.
Because he, that's a difficult time he's going through. But that's why we try to cheer you up here with some marbles. All you are probably going through some difficult times. A lot of stress out there. A lot of work to do, everybody. But we try to bring you some marble entertainment to help you get through your week. Even if it's not always released on time. I mean, we're still doing it, aren't we? So, with that being said, I think it's time to end the episode.
Alright, everybody, I completely forgot to put the outro in on my first edit, and so I've got to get to go somewhere, so I'm just going to pick something kind of, I guess, a little random for the outro. We've been talking about how I own a bowling alley, quote unquote, and so I figured what better music than to just kind of cover that than a bowling song. I know, you probably didn't think one of those existed, but they do. There was a movie called Alley Cat Strikes that was released by Disney several years ago. I can't really remember when, but they had a song in it at the end, and so I'm just going to play that here because I doubt most of you have ever heard it.
knock 'em down. Baby, let's go to town. Jukebox fills the air. Hey, we got time to spare. They're gonna set 'em up just the way we like, 'cause the joint heats up when the alley cat strikes. Ooh-wah. Right down the middle. 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 Set 'em up just the way we like, 'cause the joint heats up when the alley cat strikes. Right down the middle. Ooh-wah. Right down the middle. Ooh-wah. Right down the middle. Ooh-wah. Right down the middle. Set 'em up the way we like when the alley cats strike. Right down the middle.